Thank you so much, Ondiro. Now, welcome to this segment, Social Watch, where our mics go off and your voice comes in. Now, this week we're talking about the vaccine that can cure, not rather, can prevent around 90% of the people from getting COVID-19. This is the best news from my end ever since this issue of COVID-19 started. I bet it's yours as well. Now, this week, we did a poll on Instagram where we were asking, what's your take on the COVID-19 vaccine? 52% said, I think it's a good idea. Then 48%, not my cup of tea. So about 48% of you guys think, no, this is not something that I would want to discuss or talk about. Let's converse, let's talk about this thing. It's a vaccine, for God's sake, something that we've been praying for ever since COVID-19 hit the world, and in Africa especially, where resources are not really readily available, and if they're available, they're misused anyway. So this is one thing that I think should be something that should be celebrated or looked at keenly. So the 48% of you guys, kindly, let's rethink, let's look at this again. And then we went on to Twitter where we sampled a couple of your views on this particular subject. And our first tweet says, at James Torado MD says, I will consider getting the COVID-19 vaccine after reviewing the science and when I'm good and ready. I certainly won't be getting it when some clueless government officials tell me to, though. Now, according to James, he definitely won't be taking it if, and only if, they go through the science part of it. And this is one thing that is very important, that you understand what you're going to take. Don't just follow your leaders because they're saying, okay, fine, there is a vaccine out there, so I'm giving you the vaccine, let's take it. No, I don't think that is one thing that we should be doing. We should definitely look at the science behind it, then get to take the vaccine as well. And to our scientists, make this thing very understandable to the people who you want them to take it, them to. So if a scientist comes up with a vaccine, let's say this one that we're talking about right now, I think it's up to them to explain to us, this is how it works, these are the number of people that have been tested, and these are the results. Our next tweet says, WG Kantai says, yes, a COVID-19 vaccine has been developed and it's surprisingly effective, but until it's produced, shipped to Kenya or wherever you are, and actually injected into your arms, wear a mask, keep your distance, and sanitize. Now, for others, this might seem like a good news to them, and so they avoid or they forget about the COVID-19 protocols that the government and the WHO has put in place. So guys out there, if you're getting the news about the COVID-19 vaccine, don't stop using your masks. Do not stop sanitizing, because until, like Kantai says, until it gets to you, remember, follow the protocols strictly, and don't forget. Our next tweet at Agavadao says, community health workers should be involved heavily in COVID-19 vaccine introduction to help address myths and misconceptions about the vaccines and share the right information with community members. Now, this is very important. If you look at our communities, especially those who are at home, even those in Nairobi, something like a vaccine that is introduced would bring a little bit of concerns to some, basically because they lack information regarding that particular vaccine. We remember a couple of years back, the church was against polio vaccine. They were like, no, there is something, definitely. Those people want to probably reduce the population of Africa. But these are some of the myths that we don't want to hear when it comes to COVID-19 vaccine. So it's up to the health workers and health practitioners to go down to our communities and explain to them, this is how it works, and these are how to go about that particular vaccine. AFCOM says hypocrites, no less than State House Kenya, termed Kenyan participation in COVID-19 vaccine trials as discrimination. Many Kenyans cried racism, arguing they aren't guinea pigs, but now that the cake is baked, we want it very badly. Now, if you look at vaccine testing, I think people get paid. You get paid for that particular thing. So it's up to you to decide, okay, fine, I want to be what COM says, a guinea pig, and you get paid for it. So if you look at other drugs like malaria drugs, TB drugs, they went through the same process. If it's something that is going to cure you or prevent you from getting something, it definitely has to be tested on a human being. So the idea of calling yourself a guinea pig or being discriminated at, I think it's something that we should not really look at, because at the end of the day, it's your decision to go and be part of the testing. Lockdown Econ says, the group of vaccines near development are unlikely to end the pandemic on their own, but by targeting them to the vulnerable population, they could save a lot of lives, reducing strain on healthcare and radically change the cost-benefit equation for social and economic restrictions. Now, remember the government of Kenya did target testing. The way they were doing it, they identify a particular place that has a lot of infection, then they do the target testing there. According to Lockdown Econ says, okay, if there is a vaccine, let's also do it the same way. But again, this brings the challenge of, what about the other people? So in as much as he or she, Lockdown Econ, wants to have target testing, let's also remember there are the other part of that particular population. Now let's move on to WhatsApp, where Waddington Kijana says, it's a hurried process and we must be careful with it. Some people are out to make fortune out of this pandemic. Waddington might be right, or he might be wrong, but that's his comments right there. And again, if you look at some of these vaccines and some of the testings, and they usually take a lot of time, probably 10 years, probably 2 or 5. But let's also think towards the urgency of this particular vaccine. COVID-19 is affecting a lot of us out here, and it continues to affect a majority of people. So I think in as much as people would definitely want to cash in on the vaccines, we also need the vaccines immediately. So yeah, that's Waddington Kijana's comments. And don't forget to also, it's a conversation. We're still talking about this. And now let's look at the street talk, where we met a couple of Kenyans, and this is what they had to say.
Definitely, the world really needs a vaccine. Based on the high number of fatalities, we really need a solution to end this pandemic in the shortest time possible. The vaccine and the testing, these are like very two related issues. And so the testing needs to be done both in the States and in Kenya, and basically in Africa.
The virus is taking a lot of lives, so we need a cure.
Kwanza nimechoka na kuvaa mask, hiyo ndio kitu ya kwanza. Siwezi tembea na amani, yani hata kupumua tu ni shida, so I think we need that vaccine. Ingekuwa kama inaweza kuwa iko.
I'm not a medic, but it's better than nothing in the short run, right? The world is desperate for a solution. Kenyans are desperate for a solution. So if it works, then I'll definitely back it up.
Of course, I'm happy, but let's wait for the confirmation of the vaccine first after testing. Okay. Yeah.
Vaccine nayo inaweza kuwa imepatikana, si ndio? Na ujue unaweza kuwa upewe, then utumie, lakini ujue ni effect gani itakupatia baada ya kuitumia.
Si mbaya. Labda shida ikuwe ujue kaa una, lakini hiyo testing ikuwe ndio inakupatia. Hapo ndo saa watu wengi wanaogopea.
Ka first world country inaweza pata hiyo chanjo ya corona, Sasa unaona at least kama inaweza tu trickle down mpaka tufikie sisi huko Afrika.
A big no. I mean, like, I just want to see how. I need that. I need to see the scientific backing. If it's all good, then yes, I'll be first on the line. If there is no proper scientific backing, then I will definitely not put my life at risk testing a vaccine.
Naweza ichukulia na ningependa na pia wenzangu kwa sababu itaweza kuzuia maenezi ya virusi yenyewe.
If maybe all of us we can say we are not getting ready for the test. Whom do we want to be the test to be used for our test? Yeah, I'll be happy if I can be the first one to be tested for the virus, for the vaccine.
Ningechukua. Juu yenyewe sasa hii COVID sasa inatulemea, sasa tutafanyaje? Tumejaribu means zote, tumevalishwa mask, tuna sanitize, tuna keep distance, yote bado watu wanazidi kuongezeka. Sasa ni heri tu hiyo dawa tu.
Labda test kwa msemo mwingine kwanza. Weza test hivi uende. Umebaki umekufa. Na ni test wala jaribu. Hapana, siwezi kwa kwanza.
Kenyans, we are brilliant people, we are smart people. I mean, if we can do all the tech solutions we already have, a vaccine would be basically a drop in the ocean for us.
Hiyo technology maybe hatutaweza kupata. Na tungeneza maybe lazima iko maybe imetoka country nyingine imetesiwa ndo tukitumia isiweze maybe kutudhuru.
Yeah, I'm sure. Kenya, we have so many sources. Yeah, we have so many sources, but from the assist of the World Health Organization, we can be able to make a vaccine.
Mbona tusitengeneze na tuko na makampus watu wamesoma.
Hapa kwetu ni vile tuseme kuna wenye wanaweza kutengeneza already, but ni vile kila mtu I think anaangalia nyumba yake sana.
Haiwezi. Hata ukiangalia tu kifinance tuko down sana na kutengeneza vaccine inahitaji do.
Thank you, Vincent. Quite interesting thoughts from the social scene and also the streets. We have time for one more thing, and that is Debrief Take Home. And today I want to take you back to the 19th century where two diseases, smallpox and measles, nearly wiped out half of the population at that time. However, thanks to the beauty and the magic of science and technology, they have been able to come up with vaccines for these diseases. For example, there's now a vaccine for smallpox, just the way there's a vaccine for rinderpest, some of the most viral diseases and harsh diseases that the world has ever seen. In the recent times, we've heard news that Kenya is polio-free, thanks to the vaccination process that has been going on years and years and years on end. And then COVID-19 came, and it brought everything to a standstill. The aviation sector in Africa is bound to lose $84 billion in a year. If we look at the hospitality and tourism sector in Kenya, it will lose $195 billion this year. If we look at the job market in Kenya, 2.5 million people have lost their jobs, and over 65% of Kenyans have taken pay cuts. Now, more than ever, due to the uncertain and unpredictable nature of the disease, we are in dire need of a vaccine, not just for the global health, but also for the global economy. As a person, irrespective of your cultural, religious, and social beliefs, you need to start warming up to the idea that if there's a vaccine, you have to take it, because nobody can eradicate COVID in a vacuum. And also, all governments must start putting the house in order, as Dr. Omo Anzala has said. Put your house in order and ensure that you have the right strategy so that when the vaccine is out, you can acquire it for your people, you can distribute it to your people, and you can ensure it serves its purpose. That's all we had for you on the show today. You can always talk to us at Metropole TV KE, at Ondiro Ganga. The hashtag to use is Metropole Debrief, or you can send us an email, metropoletv@metropole.co.ke. On behalf of the crew that made this show a success, thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your viewing.